So this is my 95 Mustang, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the AC system. So the system will hold a certain amount of charge, okay, but it leaks over time. So the good news is I don't have a major catastrophic failure, but I'm going to go ahead and replace everything. Here's the deal. If you know you have a leak, you could probably get some of just the hoses and try to, get some of the UV light and check it. Over years of experience, what I've learned is you never stop replacing parts on an AC system, especially in an environment where you use it a lot. So if you tried to, say, just replace one of the hoses or one of the hose sets in this type of car, there's a chance you're gonna have to go back and replace it too. The other thing is, it's not uncommon for the accumulators and the condensers just to start rusting out. And once those parts start getting in the system, you can have a problem. Now, I haven't seen any evidence that I'm that far along in the damage. And I also know that if you truly are just going to replace parts, you got to flush the system out as well. And instead of spending all the time to flush the system out and hope that I get it clean enough, it's just better to yank everything off. So the only thing I'm not going to replace is the actual coils in the car, but everything else is going to be replaced. And I've always had good luck doing it that way. The parts for this car from LMR were only about $500, so it's pretty inexpensive to do it yourself. Honestly, this is the first time I've done a 94 through a 95 Mustang. I figured this car would have a lot in common with the Fox body, and it does, but it's funny, the compressors below here on the Fox bodies are up there a heck of a lot easier to get to. So to get to these compressors, you have to remove the battery tray. A weird design. And also on this car, there's tower brace from the factory. And it's funny as my 98 doesn't have that, and I've owned other cars and they don't have them either. I don't know why they had them on the 94 or 95. So you have to remove all the braces. I've already removed the radiator. There's a lot of other videos out there. So I had the radiator out, the upper radiator hose gone, the reservoir tanks and all that have all been removed. So all I'm gonna do now is start disassembling it. But anyways, the parts that you will need for this, again, these instructions are for a 5-liter 94 and 95, the same instruction. And it's odd to me that Ford, just for these 2 years, had a different design like this. So you'll need to replace the accumulator. Part number from Four Seasons 33057. I got a new compressor, part number 57140. And what's cool about this compressor is that it came pre-oiled, which is really cool. But the biggest pain for me is going to be when I pull this, I'm afraid I'm going to have to put the hose on it so it doesn't drain out when I do it. You will need 8 ounces of peg oil. Since this comes with 3, you would only need 5. I don't need to put 3 in there, but just in case, obviously, you would want to buy the full 8. This car says you need 8 ounces total in the car. I recommend you replace the accumulator pigtail when you do it. They usually fray because where they're at, they get hot. And the part number for this is S610. The high pressure hose is part number, and this is the hose that goes between the condenser and the actual car itself. Is Four Seasons 55720. This is the hose that goes from accumulator to the compressor, and from the compressor to the condenser. Part number 56562. And then you will need a new accumulator or a condenser, sorry. And this is part number FMACC10. I also always buy Rapid Seal AC. The reason I have these kits on place, it's not uncommon that you'll break some of these small seals when you try to put the connectors over especially on the high side. They're really tight. Well, I'll put a little bit of peg oil on them to try to loosen them, but it's not uncommon that one of them break. They don't give you spare ones. The kit's like $6, And to me, just to have insurance that if I need them, I don't want to have to stop the project. So I always buy these. Technically, you shouldn't need them if you didn't break any seals, but I've done it in the past. 3 cans at 12 ounces, or you'll need a total of 36 ounces of 134A coolant, refrigerant, I'm sorry, not coolant. And the manufacturer says 36 total ounces. You know, you could probably weigh these if you want to weigh it to make sure it's enough. I've always found that, because I live in Texas, sometimes I got to put 1 or 2 more ounces in it because it'll never get above about 35 PSI on the low side. It's just not uncommon that you need a little bit more coolant, or the container is maybe a little bit lower. You got to be very careful when you do that. A lot of people will say only put the 36 ounces in, but in a hotter climate, when it's hot, sometimes you got to put a little bit more in. Again, that's something I really recommend you're cautious on. If you're getting it, if it's cold enough for you with the 36 ounces, then you should stay with it. If it's just not quite keeping cool enough, you can add a little bit, but you got to add it slow and be very, very cautious when you do it. Obviously, you'll need a vacuum for this. Also, you'll need a vacuum to vacuum the system out, and you'll need a pair of gauges. So on these cars, there's 2 retainer clips. These things are hard to come by. Make sure you keep them, and they're going to be on from the condenser. They're on the high side, and these things will usually blow off without these, and they're really hard to find for some reason. And they're on the return side on the accumulator. Eight millimeter.
So if you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell if you want some notifications. See you next time on Chasing Mustangs.
Thanks.
All right.
Great job.
Yeah, I see it like literally every day.